All right, hey guys. This is gonna be your first lecture video of the first week. This is U.S. history. You should be taking my third block class. If that's not you, then you found your way to the wrong place, and we'll hopefully get you fixed up. But so this, we're starting to look at the Constitution. So the actual backbone of our country. So today in this little short video, I just want to talk about the creation of it real quick. There'll be another video on the Bill of Rights about midweek. So we're going to kind of, here in about 30 seconds, talking about the Constitution Convention. You're going to have some videos and things to read about it, so I won't spend a lot of time here. But we talked about the Articles of Confederation before the break, and as you know, it was trash. Completely left the country messed up. So there's a Constitutional Convention called where they want to try to fix the Articles of Confederation, but what they're not telling people, they're really going to try to just create a new government. They told people might freak out, like, oh, they're trying to steal our freedom, but that's what they do. So the convention is going to end in 1787, and they're going to finally ratify it in 1788. The Constitution needed 9 states out of 13 at the time to take effect. But it's a long battle to get there. The Constitution itself, as you through your reading of the videos will know, it's a complicated document that changes the complete way Americans do government. So there's going to be a lot of people who have problems with it. You have to make compromises. The South has different needs than the North. The South has slavery, the North doesn't. The South is afraid they're going to lose their power. What if you're only represented by population and you're not counting slaves? That means the South has a lot less people to count, so they're going to have a lot less representation. What if you are counting slaves and the North is hosed? So all these things will be through compromises that you'll read about and listen to videos about. Stuff like the 3/5 compromise, where slaves in the South will count as 3/5 of a person. It's actually written into our Constitution. So yeah. Now getting it passed through the states. So each state's going to have a ratifying convention where they're going to debate and vote on it. You're going to have 2 groups, the Federalist and the Anti-Federalist. The Federalists are for it, which means obviously the Anti-Federalists are against it. They call them Federalist because our constitutional system is a federal system where you have a federal government at the top that helps smaller governments, the states, and local at the bottom. So, Articles of Confederation to the Federalists should be completely gotten rid of. The Anti-Federalists just want to fix them like they originally said they would. The power of the states goes down according to Federalists and should stay at the top according to the Anti-Federalists. The Federalists say there should be no Bill of Rights, that the Constitution says that rights are given to everyone. The Anti-Federalists are freaked out thinking that this new strong government would take everything from them. So we'll look at, obviously that's going to end up with a Bill of Rights being written to make these guys happy. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. They want a big government, they want a small government, republic, representative government. A little bit of everybody were Federalists. Small farmers and people that owed money are going to be your Anti-Federalists. Much like today. Conservative, not conservative. In today's politics, Republican-ish, Democrat-ish, libertarian kinda. Not a complete one-to-one from then to now, but that's kind of how it shakes out. So the Federalist Papers are written. Hamilton, Madison, and Jay. Now these two, if you remember from what little of the play we got to watch, they don't like one another necessarily, but they have the same views. He helps completely write the Constitution. He helps throw some ideas behind there. Their newspaper articles trying to convince people. They used pen names. They didn't use their actual names. As you remember, Hamilton wrote the bulk of them. And this is really going to be integral into getting people to sign off on this. So here's what Federalist Papers, James Madison from number 4. If men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. So if we were great, there wouldn't need to be a government. And if angels controlled us, we wouldn't have to worry about Bill of Rights and constraints. We just trust them to treat us correctly. but men are angels, and our angels aren't coming down to run our government, so we need a constitution. Prominent anti-failers are going to be George Mason, Patrick Henry, Samuel Adams. They're afraid of central government. Give me liberty or give me death. These guys are not pumped to see all that they fought for or go back to a central government. So the compromise will be the Bill of Rights, which we'll get to. Finally, in June 1778, New Hampshire becomes the 9th state to ratify the Constitution, which means June 1778, America as we know it is born. That's right, 1776 is not the beginning. Wait a second. Let me look up something real quick. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to be June the 21st. And that should be 1788. That date did not look right. That's a typo. 1788. We were still fighting the war in 1778. 1788. So nearly 10 years since the Declaration, we still don't really have America as we know it now. So you're going to find your anti-failers in these rural areas, and the coast are going to be more your Federalist. So eventually, in April 1789, George Washington is sworn in as the first president of the United States. Well over 10 years since the revolution started, we finally have the first president. It's hard to remember. Sometimes I lose sight of that huge span of time, but it wasn't just some quick birth of a nation. We made mistakes, and it took a while to get there. And we will cover this in the next video. If you have any questions, Google Classroom, email, text, any way you can get a hold of me, please do. There will be an assessment in the week, so be sure to watch all your videos. I will know. We're going to use there'll be a way for me to know. So watch these, do your work. After your first set of work, you can go ahead and watch the next video.